All right, so just some context before I start. Recast.ai is a platform for developers, a collaborative platform in order to help them build chatbots very easily. And today the presentation is going to be about all the different APIs you're going to need in order to build a chatbot, and hopefully a great one. So first thing, the two other presentation already went through that, so I'm going to go quickly there. But basically, a bot is it's a program, it's an application that is running usually on the server. So that's the red robot on the slide here. That is connected, plugged into different channels. So it doesn't have just to be Messenger, Cake, or Skype. It could also be IoT or your car, your home, whatever. And is speaking directly to a client or a person. The person is going to make a request to those channels. The bot is going to take trigger and actions based on what he understood. And like in this case, it's like booking a meeting, maybe using a Google Calendar API. So basically, this is how it works. A conversational bot, it's very important to understand that there are three things, well, four, but like three main things. The first thing is obviously understand the user's input. Next thing is managing the conversation, which is kind of tricky as of right now, because conversation is like, it's like an open thing, so it's very huge. And then of course answers. All right. So something that I didn't write on the slide, but works basically around those is the next thing is the bot needs to be more and more intelligent over time. Right. This is the aim of a bot. Like if you just have the bot, it's the same for 10 years. I mean, there's no point of that. So this is probably the most important slide of the presentation. This is how, at least at Recast, we see how a bot is break down. So there's 5 layers. First one is channels. So obviously it's just where you get your users' input. So it could be like Telegram, Messenger, Slack, or even your email. Again, IoT or a car, it still works. Second layer is the NLP. So NLP stands for natural language processing. Basically, it's just a semantic analysis of your sentences. So there's different platform. I'll go over every 5 layers later in the presentation. Next one is the engine. So the engine is the kind of the brain of the bot. It's like you understood your user's input, but now you have to like make a decision and take actions. So it's all the logic of the bot, and sometimes it's not related to the NLP platform. It could be something else. And in the engine, you also have APIs. All right. So like the presentation just before, like you understand what comic strip you want, then you're gonna go through an API to find the right comic strip and then get it back to the user. Fourth layer is hosting. So Heroku, Amazon Web Services, and Azure, they're the 3 main hosting company doing that, but there might be others. And the 5th layer is analytics. You kind of have to see this as your SEO. Basically, this is for improving your bots over time. If you don't monitor anything, everything that is happening to your bot, then you cannot improve the bots. So you need to know what is working, what is not working, how many users actually ended the conversation, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go through all of those 5 layers a bit in details. So first thing, messaging APIs. So just a small recap, but it was explained in the previous presentation. So your client, you're writing something on Messenger. Messenger is going to catch the fact that someone wrote something on the platform, and then it's going to send the message to your webhook on the bot. Bot is going to receive the message, make the logic, and then answers. Basically, that's how it works. So there's many different channels. So you know many of them. I guess this is just to make you aware that depending on your use case and depending on the segmentation of your user, you need to choose the right channel. All right. So I'm going to give you a few examples. Like if you're in Europe, maybe you're probably going to use Messenger and Telegram. All right, but maybe if you're targeting people from 15 to 35 in the US, then Kik is your target. All right, so it's a bit different regarding the use case. For example, if you're you're making a gaming chatbot, maybe you have to plug it to Discord or Twitch because this is where your user will be. And I don't know, if you want to build like a support chatbot, then you have Intercom, FrontApp, or Zendesk. So this is very important because all those different platforms do not offer the same things. So you have to adapt. and maybe even in the same area, those platforms won't have the same design elements or that kind of thing. So just a bit of code so you understand how it works. So when you want to send a text message to those different channels, so as you can see, it's very different. Like Messenger, you need the recipient ID, then the message. In Kik, you need other details. In Slack, it's just a text. In Skype, it's a bit different, and Twilio is also different. So it kind of get very messy if you want to have like a multi-channel bot, because basically in your code you're going to have like if it's Messenger, if it's Kik, if it's Slack, and that gets very annoying. And it can get even more annoying, like if you don't have just text, like if it's Messenger, if it's text, if it's video, if it's GIF, then it's a mess. So if you want to have like a multi-channel bot, one of the solution, those are the three we know of at Recast, but there might be more. There's some multi-channel APIs. So you have Smooch, Microsoft Bot Framework, and Bot Connector, which is a Recast service. Basically, what they do is like you have like one API to rule them all. All right, so you just have one format for every single platform. You just send the message to the API, and then the API is going to translate the format into the right format for the messaging platform. This is mainly in a case where you want to have like a multi-channel bot. I'm not sure you should use those platforms if you want to have like just a messenger bot. Second layer is natural language processing APIs. Those are the four like we know very well at Recast. So obviously there's Recast, there are Wait.ai, like said earlier, was bought by Facebook one year and a half ago, I think. API.ai, which was bought by Google, and Init.ai, which is a bit different but works kind of the same. Not on the slide, but there's also Louis.ai, which is a Microsoft company. And the way it works is they have two things. So the first thing is understanding the meaning of the sentence. This is what we call the intent. So in this example, you have like, I want to eat a sushi, every Monday Italian, I'm hungry, pasta please. They all mean the same thing, and the aim is for the bot to understand the essence of the sentence, all right? So the intent. So all those three sentences want to say the same thing, is eat something. And maybe if you have like, hello, how are you? This would be in the greeting box. So understanding the intent is the first step in order to build a bot with natural language processing, but it's not enough. As said earlier, the other thing is extracting some very important information, all right? Because if I just say to my bot, I need a sushi restaurant for 1 p.m. in Paris, maybe the bot is gonna say, okay, you wanna book a restaurant, but that's it, but you don't have any other information, right? So in order to make a smart bot, then you need to extract some entities. So this is called name entity recognition. And in this example, you have sushi, which is a restaurant type. Then you have 1 p.m., which is a daytime, and Paris, which is the location. So now the developer has enough information. I know that my client want to book a restaurant, and I know it's a sushi restaurant. I know the date, I know the place. So now I can maybe go to Google API and find some right places for my client. Basically, the way it works, it's an API. You just make a call to the API, and the API is going to send you back a JSON. So this is like the example for JSON datetime in Recast. You have the formatted datetime, the ISO, which is pretty cool for a developer in order to do that very easily, and the accuracy row and confidence. Conversation in engine. So the conversation is the fact that you could actually have the logic of your bot. So there's like two kind of way. First way is you can do it everything in the code. So that would be like the boilerplate or the Microsoft Bot Framework, which is just basically a framework you have, and you can find them on GitHub and then clone them, and you can set the actions, the flow of the bot, the conversation, to say, I need this before this, and this is validated when I have this and this information. And then you have APIs, so like Wit is doing with the stories. So you're building the flow, and then the API is going to say, you're at this stage in the flow, but I need this and this information to go forward. So again, the aim here is to manage the conversation very easily. Imagine in the example, like if the person arrives and say, I want to book a table, you need to know that the person jumped to book a table and actually did not search for a restaurant. So, what do you want to do in those kind of situations? And this is where it gets tricky in terms of managing conversation. So in the engine, like I said, in the 5 layers, you need to you don't even see Algolia, but it's there. So you need to connect services. Usually, in order to make a smart bot, you need to connect your bot to external APIs. So it could be Salesforce for a CRM to know what people are doing, find new leads, business leads. Google is a huge services. You can do lots of things with them. Like the Poke API is an API actually we use to build the Pokebot. So you understand a user is asking for Pikachu, but then you need to find information on Pikachu. And if you don't have like a huge database with everything, you're probably going to use an API, or like Algolia for the search example, which you had earlier. Hosting, so very briefly, 3 services. Azure is kind of huge because Microsoft is obviously doing everything. So you have the bot framework, and they have everything on the platform where you can build the bot with their framework, and then just basically click and deploy with on Azure with Node.js, and I think they have also .NET. Heroku Toolbelt is just a CLI client. Basically, you make an app, you push to Heroku, and then you can set up the webhook for your application and your different tokens. It's very easy to use. And it was said earlier, but with the Clodia bot builder from Amazon Lambda, it's very easy. Also works the same as Heroku build, basically. Final layer, analytics. So again, this is very important. Basically, you have an idea of what your clients want, but usually it's a bit different from what they really want. So most demanding comments would be basically the most demanding intent. Usually it's like 80-20. So you have 20% of the intent that represent 80% of the mass. So maybe you just want to go there. How much your bot is used is basically, again, your RCO. What are the person who are actually using the bot, the segmentation, where, what age, that kind of thing. So you can get all those information from Facebook, basically. And of course, bot feedback. So this is, sometimes you have people that give feedback to the bot, like, I would love to have this implemented within the bot, so can you do it? So I think you need to monitor this in order to say, okay, maybe this feature is not used at all, but I need to do that in order to make a better bot. For those services, I did not find a lot of things. Usually people do that manually within the code, but you have button.io, which is exclusively for Telegram, if I remember well. You have mana.ai and bot analytics code. Again, there's just APIs. When you have a message or a new person connecting to the service, you can send all the information to their service. And then you have a nice dashboard with everything where you can monitor everything that is happening. And to just finish the presentation, this is I wouldn't say it's the best bot on earth as of right now, but it's just the bot that actually at Recast we like a lot. So Citron, it's French, all the 3 at the top are French. Citron is a French bot built by a small team in Paris. They help you to actually find a bar. It's a very easy use case, but they've done it very, very well. And I urge you to try it. Voyage SNCF, which is a very basic bot, but actually works well. And Sleek, who is another bot built by a small company in Paris, which is just helping you finding new movie theaters and what are the new movies that just went out this week. 3 at the bottom, they're English one. So Wonder, just a list to remember something that you don't want to forget. So just go there. This is the passcode for my door, and then you just get back like 1 week later. Can you tell me back what is the door pass for my door? And then I'll get back to the information. Don't Be Invasion is a bit different, but it's very funny. It's like an RPG game, just within Kick. So there's a zombie invasion, and then it just asks you what you want to do. Very fun if you want to lose time during your day. And Instalocate is kind of the same thing as Flight Radar, where you can monitor every flight and where your friends are regarding flights. So yeah, you can try them. They're pretty cool. So thank you, everyone. Just a small announcement. As every startup in Paris, we are still hiring every day. So if you find that our bots are interesting or you want to try NLP, please feel free to come and talk to me later. And now if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Is anything happening in the end user space where no developer is needed?
Like no coding in order to make a bot?
Right.
There's okay, so there's services that provide those kind of thing, like motion.ai, Maya.ai. You have also Chatfuel, obviously, where they do not require coding, but okay, that is my personal perception. Is I do not think that you can make a great bot without coding. I think it's the same thing as using Wix.com. If you want to build a website, you can do it. You can build a very good website, but I think if you want to build like a real website for a corporate, or then you're gonna have just Amazon Web Services server, and then you're gonna have to put your hands and like code everything. But still, yeah, there's services, they exist, and they work.
Thank you. My name is Jeremy, and we're doing at Complementary some software for our clients based on big data, data science, and artificial intelligence. We're trying to go into the chatbot world, and I wonder, have you already observed a solution for which the chatbot is replacing a human activity and not just a computer activity, like not a chatbot which is like a search bar, but a chatbot who is a real person? And do you know chatbot that makes money?
Okay, so lots of questions. First thing is, the way we see the market at Recast as of right now is bot won't replace human right now. I mean, they can take a lot of things. So the best example is client support, IT support. This is where chatbot works very, very well. So basically you are in a bank, you have every day 1,000 people asking for the same question. I want to reset my password, all right? So that's what I said earlier about the 2080. So you have like 20 questions that represent 80% of the mass. So this is where you can actually have chatbots being very useful. Is they take care of the small things that you don't need an agent, an operator to take the call and answer those questions, but you still need humans for specific questions, all right? So it kind of depends on the use case, but I guess for a moment you will still need human, except for if it's very easy, like, can you find me a movie theater? Then yeah, sure. I mean, where are you? I'm just, and you don't need a human. But so it kind of depends on the use case and the industry. And maybe, I don't know, if you go in luxury industry, people want the experience to be perfect. So maybe they still have human anytime in case of. Do I know chatbot that make money? In the US, they kind of implemented the payment. It's not available right now in Europe. I think it'll be at the end of the year. So for retail, I guess, yeah, you can, if you can buy things, it will work. It depends if you want the chatbot to make the money or the chatbot to make money for your company. Like again, if I said support, if you go in a bank and say, I'm going to take care of 60% of your IT support every year, then it's just hundreds of millions of cash for them. All right, so you're going to make money thanks to the chatbot, but the chatbot is not going to make paying someone. So I guess for retail, again, I completely agree with my colleagues before. I think you're going to have a less and less apps, and why not order something on Amazon from Messenger, and then you're going to pay in Messenger, and then obviously the bot is going to make money.
I don't know if you heard about Claque Yeah, I mean, is that considered as a chatbot, or how does it work? How could they leverage on such large amount of services? Do they have a lot of APIs, or?
So the way Claque works, if I remember well, because we talked with them actually about implementing Recast within their services, I think they have chatbots to take care of the most demanded requests. Like, I don't know, can you deliver flowers for my wife tomorrow? That kind of thing that should have, they should have like almost every day. But for very specific demands, they still have, I do think they still have people taking care of those specific requests. Again, I don't think chatbots are going to erase humans from Earth. That's not the point. It's just you have like lots of small things that could be taken care of by bots, and there is no added value to have a human behind. All right, so let's change that. Any other questions?
it's kind of a follow-up on the last one, I think. But so, how do you manage to make the interaction between the chatbot and the human taking over when need be to be transparent for the user?
So the way we do this at Recast, again, this is just my experience, is we always say it's a bot, so people know. What we noticed is people act differently when they think it's a bot than when they think it's a human. All right, so I think this is the good way of making it as of right now. Second thing is the way you pass onto the human when the bot doesn't understand, it's usually when the bot doesn't understand. So for a fact, we have like 2-3 use cases. The way it works is, sorry, I didn't understand your request. You want me to put you in contact with an operator? And then the person would say yes or no. And through Messenger or through different channels, you can actually connect to a call center or an API. So you have different services like, I don't know, Intercom, Zendesk, Gmailo, or iAdvice, for example. There would be such services. So the way it works is the engine, the bot, actually poses the bot itself for this conversation and directly build like a direct channel to the human. And then the human is going to answer. And when the person closes the conversation, then the bot take back the conversation.
So I was looking at your website and the pricing section, and I saw that for developers, you offer a limited number of bots. So do you see like the bots technology as something that is going to be extremely cheap for companies? And you were saying that if you offer a bot to a company or a retail company, it can save them millions of dollars. But and on the other side, I see that it seems like an extremely cheap technology that you can offer almost with unlimited resources.
I guess there's different business models. Regarding company, I do think that it's probably going to be a cheap technology. I mean, if you want the technology to be like everywhere, you need to make it cheap for everyone to access it and build some things with it, right? So this is our vision as of right now at Recast. The thing is, for huge corporate clients, they do not want their bot to be on the platform. So what they want is they want to have their own platform with secure information and everything encrypted. And this is what we make them pay at the moment. It's like a bank wouldn't have their bot on Recast. They wouldn't want like their bnp.recast.ai and then have their own platform with their own compliance servers and everything. So this is what you usually make pay actually. Any last questions? Well, thank you everyone.